Hello classmates and welcome to this episode. It's now 6 o'clock in the morning and believe it or not, nandito ko sa Apari. Bakit? Dahil dito. The Africa Twin 2022 model. We were given the opportunity to test ride it and I must say, it's a very memorable experience. So join me. In 1985, pagkatapos ng 3 taon ng pagkatalo sa Paris-Dakar Rally sa BMW, dinevelop ng Honda Racing Corporation ang NXR 750, a custom-built racing machine na mayroong isang misyon para tapusin ang virtual monopoly ng BMW R50 GS. They succeeded on the first try. From 1986 to 1989, the NXR 750 was king of the Paris-Dakar Rally. Alam natin that winning races sells bikes. Dahil sa 4 na back-to-back wins ng Honda sa Paris-Dakar for 4 years, from 1989 to 2003, bumenta ng husto ang Honda XR-V 750, yung direct derivative ng Africa Twin, until 2003 when they retired the model. In 2016, binuhay ulit ng Honda ang legendary Africa Twin name, this time as part of its CRF line, mga motor na pang motocross, trail at dual sport. The CRF 1000L was a completely modern bike with an engine, chassis, suspension, and electronics na kaya makipagsabayan with the best. I have to admit na matagal-tagal ko ring minamataan ng Africa Twin. Until recently, wala kaming matsyempohan na demo unit ng Africa Twin DCT na pwede sa malawing biyahe. Although Honda Philippines does test rides, limitado lang to doon sa Honda Safety Riding Center and it's hardly the place kung saan talagang masusubukan mo yung abilities ng bike. Kaya nga nung sinabi ng isang kaibigan ko na Triumph JT Marketing in Caloocan is willing to lend me an Africa Twin DCT for 3 days, sinunggabang ko yung opportunity. This bike is a 2022 model Africa Twin Adventure Sport. Top of the line model ang bike na to. It is significantly upgraded from the base model manual. Electronically controlled ang suspension, wherein rebound and damping can be adjusted from the multi-function controller on the handlebar or on the touchscreen display. Mas malaki din ang fuel tank at 24.8 liters capacity for greater range. And of course, the transmission is Honda's brilliant dual-clutch automatic. Seat height is adjustable from a low setting of 850 mm to a high of 870. Sa height kong 5'10", halos flat-footed ako at the low setting. Just the way I like it. Kung gusto mo talagang masubukan ang capability ng isang motor, you must ride it the way it was meant to be ridden, where it was supposed to be ridden. The ride must be worthy of the bike. Dahil ito ay isang adventure bike, I decided to bring it out on a real adventure para magkasubukan. Katatapos ko lang ng Viesmin Loop ko last April. So I decided to do the North Luzon Loop para maging certified Philippine Looper ako this year. Napakaganda ng rutang to kasi halos lahat ng riding conditions dadaanan mo. Umalis ako ng bahay at 3:45 and filled up the tank. With almost 25 liters in the tank and a rated fuel consumption of 20.4 kilometers per liter. Sobra-sobrang to for the first leg, which is Baler. As expected, medyo bitin ang stock headlights. Although malaking tulong ang cornering lights, hindi confident expiring ang headlight. But in fairness to Honda, lahat naman ng motor ganito. Wala akong kasamahan sa club na walang auxiliary light. Dahil bitin ang ilaw, alalay lang ang takbo hanggang sa lumiwanag shortly after kabanatuan. Kapag relax lang ang takbo around 100 km per hour, the bike returns as much as 25 km per liter. Kapag naman ganito kaganda ang kalsada at panahon, masaya na ako going even at just 90. Sa twisties ng Maria Aurora ako unang ginulat ng bike na to. Dahil nga malaki ang front wheel combined with its weight, I was expecting na medyo mabagal lumiko ito. Pero pagkatapos ng ilang kurbada pa lang, nagulat ako sa handling ng bike. Wala pa akong 5 minuto sa twisties, gamay ko na agad ang liko nito. Although hindi siya kasing biksi ng aking NC750X which has 17-inch wheels, kaya nitong makipagsabayan with most bikes out there. Nasa rider na lang. Talagang nagulat ako sa handling nitong bike na ito. I could not believe that I was doing this on a 248 kilo motorcycle. Ramdam ko din ang advantage ng malaking gulong. On my NC750X, medyo kinakabahan na ako pag ganitong twisty sa maraming imperfection ang kalye. Sa ganito na bingkong ang rim ko sa Marilake, Bicol at Samar. Pero with the Africa Twins 21-inch spoke wheels na tubeless, walang problema ito. Dumating ako sa Baler ng 7:30. Dahil 4 na oras lang ang tulog ko the night before, I took a 3-hour break before taking off for Apari at 10:30. Warm up lang pala yung twisties ng Maria Aurora. Ang main event ay yung 153 kilometers between Dinadyawan and Saguday in Quirino. Maganda naman ang kalsada, pero mahigit 90% yata puro curves. Ride this road for almost 3 hours straight. Ewan ko lang kung hindi ka magsawa sa shifting at mangalay ang kaliwang kamay mo. Believe me, malaking ginhawa ang DCT dito. Sa mahahabang stretch naman between Santiago, Isabela at Apari na sulit ang 100 horsepower. Dumating ako ng Apari with plenty of time for a cold one. Siyempre, if you're a rider passing through Apari, you drop by and pay this lady a visit. Ewan ko ba kung bakit, pero parang may kaba ako the following day. Hindi naman ako naniniwala sa pamahiin, pero somehow nag-stick sa ulo ko na Friday the 13th pala. Pero ilang minuto pa lang ako after leaving Apari, nawala na yung kaba ko. This bike's capabilities inspires confidence. For the next 132 kilometers from Apari, walang masyadong aksyon kasi puro straight halos. Yung combination ng power at DCT ng Africa Twin makes everything so easy. Downshifting only takes a press of a button, gaya dito. Sa twisties ng Santa Paquedes, I decided to find out just by how much I was using body position to control the Africa Twin. Dahil mas mabigat ang Africa Twin at 21 inches pa yung front wheel, medyo mas malaking galaw ng katawan ang kailangan mo to keep this bike in line in the twisties. Pero with grippy tires and that excellent suspension combined with a 9.8-inch ground clearance, wala kang kaba about losing traction or running out of lean angle. Ihiga mo na hanggat kaya ng loob mo, katulad dito, and the bike still delivers. Itong Patapat Viaduct ang isa sa paborito ko dito sa North Loop. On this road, on this bike, on a clear day like this, ano pa ang hahanapin mo? This is riding heaven. Pagkatapos ng Patapat ay ang isang paborito ko na naman, yung 29 kilometers mula sa Balaoy Police Outpost hanggang sa Windmills Viewing Deck, lalong-lalo na yung first 9 kilometers. Ang kinis ng kalsada, malapad at napakadalang ng sasakyan. Dito ko talagang na-enjoy ang handling, acceleration at braking ng Africa Twin. Pakinggan nyo dito kung gaano kabilis at ka-smooth ang shifting ng DCT. If you listen carefully, maririnig din ninyong automatic downshifting at rev matching. At Labag, I stopped for a few minutes for the mandatory checkpoint and left at 11:30. After riding almost 1,000 kilometers sa mga kapatagan ng Central Luzon at Cagayan Valley at mga kabundukan ng Sierra Madre at Cordillera, medyo anticlimactic na ang back to Manila through Ilocos Sur, La Union, then Tipilex. I reached Triumph JT Marketing in Caloocan at 5:30 to return the bike. Okay, back to reality. Alam niyo, minsan yung tadhana, nakakatawa talaga. Kasi before I bought my NC750X, nagkaroon ako ng opportunity to test ride one for a long time. Kasi yung isang kaibigan ko, walang garahe sa kanyang brand new NC750. Ang ginawa niya, pinahiram niya sa akin for 3 whole months with less than 200 kilometers on the odometer. Halos 4,000 kilometers yung bike na ibinili ko. You know, it's very good to have friends like this guy. So, I offered to buy it, pero hindi niya binenta sa akin, so I bought my own. Ngayon naman, I had the opportunity to ride this Africa Twin for 1,400 kilometers in 2 days. Parang history will repeat itself yata. Pero parang hindi papalitan eh. Baka madagdagan. In closing, let me leave you with this and enjoy.